like there's a curse on the land. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to my channel or just simply not yet subscribed, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. So I have been posting a lot of vlogs lately. If you haven't seen, I transformed Brit Vlogs to the Empties. That will be the permanent name eventually. It might get its own channel, but for now it's staying on this one. So I'll be doing all the paranormal videos as well as the vlogs. And it's just a way to incorporate my life with you guys more and my family with you guys more. Since I've been uploading so many vlogs, I wanted to make sure to get you guys a paranormal video. So I'm a little tired and it's not too, what time is it? Jeff? I think it's like 10:30, maybe a little after. Sebastian's sleeping, but I'm tired, and so we'll see how my thoughts work tonight. But tonight we're going to be talking about the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. So one of the first English settlers in what is now known as Mercer County, West Virginia. His name was Mitchell Clay, and this was in 1774. He received a very large grant from a lord. Water's gonna get air in my drink. He received a very large grant from a lord because he participated in a war. This grant gave him a very big amount of land that he took his family and moved on to, because back in the day people were paid with things like land. It was very crazy. So the family took this land and turned it into farmland and kind of just made it their own. So this specific piece of land had actually been taken by the Shawnee tribe, and members of the tribe had told the family that they were very unhappy that the family was there and they wanted their land back. I mean, if something was taken from you, wouldn't you want it back? So makes sense. But the family was not interested in giving back their land. And I kind of see both sides because it was unrightfully taken. However, that's not the Clay family's fault. And they were given it, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Not to get much darker. At this point, it had been decades since the tribe had resided on that land, but the land was still being used by that tribe, and not in the ways that might first come to mind. One day, Mitchell had asked his two sons, Bartley and Ezekiel, to put a fence up around some grain that he had recently purchased, and his daughter Tabitha was washing clothes nearby. So the kids were doing their chores, and that is when 11 Shawnee tribe members attacked the boys. They killed Bartley rather quickly, but they grabbed Ezekiel. Their sister had heard everything that was happening, so she started to run back towards the house, but ran directly into the slaughter. She wanted to save her brother, but when she went to, she was stabbed. Bill's wife then ran outside and grabbed the two children, who were both gone. The Shawnee men had taken Ezekiel, who was still alive at this point, and it would be a little while before anyone learned what happened to him. The wife then took the bodies of her two deceased children and placed them in a bed together. She wanted to protect the rest of her kids, so she took her surviving children 6 miles to a nearby house for safety, to a neighbor's house, because I guess 6 miles is a little. Mitchell was out hunting when all this was happening, and when he returned, he found his daughter and son's bodies in the bed. Then ran to the neighbor's house, assuming that all of his family was gone and that they had been killed, but To his surprise, the rest of his children and his wife were still alive. So then Mitchell and his wife went back to the property to bury their children, and their marked graves are still there to this day. Graves of Bartley and Tabitha are marked by a stone that was placed there on August 14th, 1937, and it stays in the exact spot that they were originally buried. So Mitchell was quite angry by the deaths of his children, as any parent would be. He gathered some men to go and attack the Shawnee tribe, and it was just a blood-filled battle. So many people died. Mitchell had then discovered that his son Ezekiel had been taken to Ohio and burned at the stake, and he was heartbroken. It gets quite graphic, as in during this battle, some of the settlers took strips off the Native Americans' backs and then used them as razor straps. Then those skins would be passed down from generations to generations as a sort of trophy. A very disgusting trophy, but they considered it a trophy nonetheless. Fast forward 144 years, and it brings us to 1927, when a man by the name of Conley Snindow bought the land. So he wanted to make money by providing entertainment and fun to families. He set up rickety swings, a Ferris wheel, and a water slide that went into a man-made pond, as well as other pools. People could gamble and dance and let their kids play as they socialized. Now, this wasn't a happy place like it was supposed to be, and instead would be riddled with more death. It's said that there was a total of 6 deaths that occurred in the park from the time that it had been opened to when it closed in 1966. A little boy had died in one of the pools on the property. The pools were man-made, and they had drains at the bottom, and the sides were lined with cement. The boy ended up getting stuck in the drain at the bottom, and he drowned. The pool was filled with sand by the park employees, and they kind of hoped that the incident would just be forgotten, which is quite terrible. Another 6-year-old boy drowned in a pool on the property, and at this time there were lifeguards on duty. He was swimming with his family, and yet nobody witnessed him drown. His body was found when one of the swimmers brushed against him at the bottom of the pool. Can you imagine that? That's absolutely terrifying. I feel like that's something that would create some PTSD, and I would probably never get in a pool again. But the most well-known death that took place at this park happened in 1966. There was a truck that was delivering drinks, and it ended up backing up into the park in direct line of the swings. A little girl who was riding the swings was flung against the side of the truck, and she died on impact. Witnesses said that the little girl was wearing a pink dress, and immediately upon impact, her dress was soaked in blood. So because of all of the deaths of the children, the park was closed in 1966. Now, Conley decided that, all these children keep dying, so he didn't want to keep it open anymore. What was the point? This was supposed to be a fun place, and the kids keep dying. It's almost like there's a curse on the land. So Conley closed the park, and he understood what it was like to lose a child, because when his family was living in a hotel, his 3-year-old daughter ran for the elevator one day and was crushed between the floor and the door going up. All of it, especially as a parent, I don't know how you continue. I don't know. It's devastating. So in the 1980s, there's a businessman by the name of Gaylord White, and he decided to buy the land. He wanted to redo the amusement park because he had originally enjoyed going there as a kid and he wanted to restore it. So at this time, the swings were no longer at the park. But Gaylord decided to go to an antique dealer in New Jersey, and he purchased the same kind of old, unsafe swing. Took the swings back to the park and he set it up, but he liked to know where the things came from that he bought. So he looked up the serial number on the swing set, and it was the exact same swing set from the amusement park all those years ago. So he charged only $1 to get into this park. He wanted people to come and have fun, so he didn't want this like crazy price. So this only lasted about 3 years because things just got too expensive and he had to close the park. So the family then decided to use the land for things like fishing tournaments and stuff because they didn't want the land to go to waste because it was so much land. The family decided to start bulldozing part of the property to make room for a new kind of attraction. But as they were bulldozing and kind of going through the land, they started finding things like arrowheads, pots, and pottery. So they stopped digging and they brought a team of anthropologists to kind of look around the property and see what they were dealing with. And Chris White, who was the son of Gaylord, said that they stopped digging when they started finding children's graves. Now, anthropologists said that there were roughly 3,000 bodies of children and elderly buried on the property of the park. And this would explain why the Shawnee tribe was so angry and wanted this property back. I was so unhappy that it was taken from them because they were their loved ones, their children, their parents. It was thought that what had happened was the tribe was succumbed by this great illness, and they thought that the way to save the tribe was to take everyone but the kids and the elderly, the people that would, have the lesser immune system, the people that wouldn't be able to move as quickly and keep up with the rest. They left them behind. So the Shawnee tribe was trying to get the Clay family to leave because this was a very sacred burial grounds. Now, in any Native American history and culture, the burial grounds are so sacred. And I mean, even in our culture, like, we don't just go digging up cemeteries. We don't do that. So when the family discovered this, they were like, okay, we're just gonna leave things the way they are. We're not gonna touch them. We're just going to let them rest. They let the earth reclaim it, so grass and weed and plants began to grow over everything. They just wanted to respect that land and the people that died there. Now, in the mid-1990s, the park did reopen, and you can still go there and do haunted history tours to today. There are multiple swings still in the park. However, people usually tend to know which one was the one that the little girl died on, even though the tour guides never say which one it is. People who visit there say they get horrible vibes, they see spirits, or they feel the presence of evil spirits. People often report hearing children laughing, sound of Native Americans chanting. Swimming is not allowed on the property. However, some do try to go swimming there, which I don't know why you would ever want to. And when they do this, they feel as if somebody is trying to drown them. People claim to smell concession stand food and to see these shadows on the old abandoned rides. I can see why there would be still some pretty angry, upset spirits there. I mean, between Shawnee tribe, kids not understanding what's happening and why they're being left behind, to overcoming not being able to overcome a horrible illness, to dying the horrible deaths of these children that were in the park, that were there because their family was supposed to be having fun. And some things are just better left to rest. I mean, maybe if the Shawnee tribe explained why they wanted the land back, but who's to say they didn't? Let me know what you guys think about this amusement park down below. Honestly, I think that the second family that moved in there, or I know, not second family, the third family that moved in there, the one that let everything kind of, the earth reclaim everything, did the right thing. I think that they were right. They wanted to respect it. Me, as far as, I mean, even the other people, like, they weren't really in the wrong if they didn't know what happened, right? And they did shut it down when there kept being more and more deaths. They're just like, okay, like, this needs to stop. We need to stop this. But let me know all your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. We're going to be starting 31 Days of Halloween soon, so I'm super excited for that. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a big thumbs up. And until next time, love yous. Bye.